Hello team, my name is Monique, this is The Cauldron from a slightly different angle, and today we are doing an official unhaul. In case you were not aware, this is Bookwitch Reviews, my channel where I do stuff such as hauling, which means that we need to do some unhauling, and I have been doing tiny unhaulings for quite a while, getting rid of a few books, selling some, mainly giving basically books back to the bookshop that I continuously buy stuff in. But today I have been really serious about some unhauling. I also have an additional about 20 books on the shelves, maybe 15, that I'm like, I need to do a reread, and then I need to figure out whether or not I am going to keep them. Also, don't look too much at the shelves. They're a right mess. I need to move them around because we got an extra tiny shelf here. Anyways, let's just jump straight into it. A little disclaimer. Just because I'm unhauling these books does not mean that I did not like them. It does not mean that I don't think you might enjoy them. It is just that I have no intention of rereading them, which means that I don't keep them on my shelves. So, without further ado, let's just jump straight into it. I have a little stack of books which is going to one of my friends who works at a school, and she gets to set up like a little corner library or something. But anyway, so I am getting rid of this very beautiful edition of Star Daughter by Svenska Tekvar, which is like a young adult magical realism-ish book where we follow a young Indian girl who is half star and half mortal, and she accidentally burns her father, so she has to go to these celestial courts. It's very beautifully written. I just wasn't a big fan of the tone of the plot or the pacing, which meant that I was just a little bit not excited about reading it. Basically, I am very excited about reading more from this author though, because there was some very beautiful lyrical writing. So we're getting rid of that. Also getting rid of The Light at the Bottom of the World by London Shah, which was a book that really surprised me in like a sad way, because I just didn't think the pacing was as sort of engaging as it could be. This basically follows a dystopian world where humanity is living at the bottom of the ocean because the waters have risen so much, and they are sort of like trying to figure out how to live. And there are these almost like mermaidy creatures that have been genetically engineered from humanity, and they are attacking these cities that still exist. And parts of it I actually really enjoyed, and parts of it I did not enjoy, and I'm really sad because this cover is just so beautiful. Look at the jellyfish. Also getting rid of Fire and Heist by Sarah Beth Durst, and Sarah Beth Durst has written another series. I think it's the Queens of Retna or something like that, which is amazing and one of my favorite underappreciated fantasy series. But this is a YA magical realism about dragon shifters and a heist, and it's funny, but it's not something that I am particularly interested in reading again. It is very cute though, very fast-paced. We got Scavenge the Stars by Tara Sim, which is a young adult fantasy novel about a young girl who is out to revenge her family, who she's been sold into slavery basically, and she ends up some sort of enemies to lovers sort of thing. I didn't really enjoy the positive menstruation rep in here, but other than that I wasn't really a big fan, which I'm a bit sad about. I need to read something else by Tara Sim because I believe that she's written some cool stuff. And then we got Sarah Holland's Havenfall, which I thought was fine. It's like Portal magic fantasy where a young girl wants to be the heir to this inn that has these 3 doors to 3 other worlds, and there is one specific world which is evil or dying, and I wasn't wowed by it, which makes me sad. So these are all my fancy special edition books going out. And then I ended up with an additional edition of You Should See Me in a Crown. I still have one of these, which is why I'm getting rid of this one, which is a young adult female romance where a young black girl basically sets out to become prom queen so that she can go to this fancy school, and then there may end up being some lovely feelings between her and the other girl who's trying to be prom queen. I'm very pumped about it. I've heard great things. This is by Leah Johnson, by the way, and I'm super pumped to getting to reading it, hopefully next month. But yeah, so it's only because I have an additional copy that I'm giving this away. Okay. And then we're getting into this sort of stack of books that have been standing on my shelves for too long. There are not too many in here that I haven't read, but there are a few where I'm like, we are going to give up now and stop having them on your shelves because there's so many other books you'd rather read. So first off is Binge by Tyler Oakley, who is a YouTuber. I did really enjoy this. This is like his biography. I'm just not like, I think I found it rather funny, but I don't think I'll ever read it again. So here we go. We got some art books. So this is Your Eyes Only by Clamp, which is a Chobbits art book. It has some nice like full illustrations, and I was really into anime for a while, but we're getting rid of it. Got a few more of those, but it was because I was really into Tetsubasa, which is an anime series which I think we should all watch, including myself again, because I fucking love it. But these are like magazines. There are a few like extra drawings in it and stuff like that. I went to conventions, okay? Don't judge me. Can feel you judging me. Then we have Bad with Money by Gabby Dunn, which was actually a rather interesting read. It like also tells you a little bit about like the like inherited like idea of money and how we spend money that we get from our families. I rather enjoyed it. I think it would be rather good for other people to read as well, so I don't think I'll be reading it again, so getting rid of it. Also, I apologize for the light. The light was really good a second ago and it might be disappearing. It's annoying. We have Beautiful Disaster and Walking Disaster by Jamie Maguire, which is like smutty romance times. I've also vaguely seen on the interwebs that the author might have some racist views, and I'm basically like, I enjoyed these back in the day because I enjoy my romance, but there are some very like harmful traits in here of like relationships, and I just don't think I'll be reading them again. So also, if racist, don't want to keep those on my shelves. Then we have a small trilogy by Morgan Howell, which consists of King's Property, Clan Daughter, and Royal Destiny, which is a weird fantasy series that I found years and years ago. And it's basically about a young woman who gets roped into servitude for this army, and they're trying to take down this other land or something, but they are working together with these orcs, and it's this weird almost romance fantasy thing, and I've been meaning to just reread them, but at the same time I'm also like I think I enjoyed them, but there's so many other books that I'd rather read, and I don't remember being like, this is the best thing in the entire world, so I'm gonna let them go. Then we have Scott Westerfeld's Extras, which is the fourth book in the Uglies series that I've never read. I don't think I'm going to. I'm keeping Uglies, Pretties, and Specials because I have an idea of rereading them, but I don't think I'll ever actually get to Extras, so it's going away. Uglies is a dystopian like young adult novel that I was obsessed with for a little while when I was like 13, 14. Then we have Everything is Awful by Matt Bellassai, who is another author. He's another like YouTuber, and he like complains, rants about stuff. And I meant to read this, and I think my girlfriend bought it, and now I'm just a little bit like, I don't think I'll ever get around to it, so out it goes. What have we have Witch Child by Celia Reese, which I read earlier this year and actually rather enjoyed. It is like a historical fiction portrayal of a young girl who leaves, I believe, England to go to America because of like the witch trials in the UK. I actually really enjoyed this, but I don't think I'll ever be reading it again, and my girlfriend won't be either, so out it goes. We got The Art of Racing in the Rain by Gareth Stein, which was actually a book that I loved intensely. It is a book that is written from the perspective of a dog whose owner is like a race car driver, and I've just had it for so long because it was like the one book where I was like, this is not fantasy, because my dad used to say that I should read stuff that's not just fantasy, but at the same time I'm like, I just want to do what I want. Getting rid of it because I won't read it again. Why is it dog so dark all of a sudden? Bear with. Apologies for the changing lighting, but we are almost at the end of this haul. We have another biography thing. This is A Grace's Guide by Grace Helbig, who is another YouTuber that I used to watch when YouTube was new and young. She's also like a comedian and an actress, and I love that whole group of people. Then I also somehow ended up with an additional copy of the God's Prayer by Gareth Hanrahan, and I haven't read this yet. I'm really excited about it, so I still have another copy, but I'm just going to give this away because I don't need 2 copies of a book that I haven't read yet. Also, don't generally need 2 copies of books, but we don't talk about that because I do have a few. And then we have the few books of this unhaul that I have not actually read yet. So the first one is The Haunting of Hill House, which was an Owl Crate edition. It's very funky, beautiful orange. It's by, Shirley Jackson. It's scary. I don't want to read it. That's all I know. Then we have Darkblade by Steve Feasey, which was a book that I picked at Yalk last year because I needed a 3rd book, because you bought 2 books and you got the 3rd one free, and this was just the first one that jumped at me. It sounds very much traditional YA fantasy with like a young boy who finds out that he might be special or something like that. I read the first page and I wasn't crazy excited about it, so gonna give someone else a chance to read this. And then we have 2 like books that I have been running around with for the better part of, I think, 10 years. These are 2 of the oldest books on my TBR, and I picked them up at a like fantasy and sci-fi forum back in Denmark, and one of them is a collection of short stories about like virtual realities where they all basically metaphors for existing conditions of humanity. And I thought about keeping it. I'm still thinking about keeping it. I don't know if I'm ever going to read it, but anyway, this might be going out. And then it is also A Woman of the Iron People by Eleanor Arnason, which seems to be a weird fantasy historical fiction-ish book. I ended up reading like 30 pages the other day, and it seems like they're split up into weird groups, and the women don't live with the men, and they all have pelts, so I'm not sure whether that they mean hair or whether they mean people, and then they go into like lust and then they leave. And yeah, I read something about another like clan or something where they were like, yeah, and the women don't sleep with the men, and then one of them was like, that's absurd and immoral, and I was like, I don't even know if I'm gonna need to read this, so out it goes. And yeah, that was it. That was my stack. I'm getting rid of 28 books, which is good because I massively hauled over the last couple of months since my other massive haul, which is why we are going on a small book buying ban, because I keep gathering books. A lot of them are from secondhand though, and that's my only excuse, but I do need to get down in my physical TBR. So that was just a quick little unhaul for you guys. There might be another one in another like month or couple's time when I've had a chance to reread a couple of those books where I'm not sure whether or not I'm going to keep them. But that was it. If you did enjoy this, don't forget to hit that thumbs up button. You can also click the subscribe button at the same time if you would like to do so you don't miss out on any other videos from me. You can also click the little bell, which will give you a notification when I put up a new video. It says ding. It's wonderful. I like it. Let me know down below if there are any of these books that you in particular think that I should actually keep and read because you love them. And if not, then I hope you're having a great day. I'll see you really soon with another video. Take care of yourself. I'm proud of you. You're doing great. Bye. In case you wonder why are we clapping?